Welcome to the April 8th, 2021 meeting of the Town of Southampton Planning Board in accordance with the Governor's Executive Order 202.1 and its related extensions, and until further notice, all of the board's meetings will be held remotely via video conference. So we ask the public to continually check the town's website for updates and new information. May we have a roll call, please, Gloria?
Chair LaFaro.
Present.
Vice Chair Finnerty.
Present.
The Secretary is here. Board Member Zuccarelli.
Present.
Board Member Long.
Present.
Board Member Catalinato.
Present.
We are all here. We have a quorum.
Thank you. Can we please join in for a pledge of allegiance? I pledge
I pledge
allegiance
allegiance
to the
to the
flag
flag
of the
of the
United States
of
of
America
America and to
and
the
to the
republic
republic
for which
for which it
it stands,
stands,
one nation, under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty
and
and
justice
Oh,
for all.
Jackie cannot be let in. Charles, can you let Jackie Fenelon in? Charles?
I am doing it.
Okay, she's in.
I said thank you.
We have a full agenda posted on the town's website for today's meeting. The town's planning staff, as well as applicants and their representatives, will be participating via Zoom webinar, which is being moderated by CTV. Charles Certain will be muting and holding the speakers in the virtual waiting room until it's their time to give testimony before the board. A reminder that applicants and their agents should state their name and address for the record. As is typical, there are no public comments allowed during our daytime meetings, nor is it appropriate for the public to use the chat function to comment on applications. The link to participate in this meeting via Zoom can be found on the town's website. This meeting is also being live streamed on the town's website on the town clerk's meeting portal. If you're having difficulty accessing the meeting, please visit the town clerk's meeting portal and click on the instructions link. Board members who must recuse themselves from any application will state so on the record and will be removed from the meeting until the end of the discussion and the vote on the application. Finally, in accordance with the governor's orders, this meeting will be recorded and transcribed at a later date and will be made available to the public. Okay, just before we go into a work session, I just want to go over what's off the agenda so we're all on the same page. The first work session, North Sea Tavern, is off the agenda. Number 8, Camp Jerome, is off the agenda. 10, Freddie, is off the agenda. 11, Gold Coast Development, is off the agenda. 14, George Hastings, is off the agenda. Everything else is on the agenda. So I'll close out the afternoon planning board session and go into the work session, which is CSE Contracting, formerly Bell Ringer.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
we have minutes from.
Oh my gosh, Gloria, I forgot. I'm sorry.
From January 28th to 2021.
January 28th. Motion to approve
Motion.
by Dennis, second by
Second.
Zuccarelli. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions. Thank you, Gloria, and I completely missed that one.
Thank you, Patty.
Okay, we're in a work session, and I believe Wayne Bruin.
Yeah, it's going to be Wayne and Christopher Ennis, Charles.
Okay,
I'll bring it up for you guys.
Say it again.
Wayne Bruin and Christopher Ennis. Can everybody see that?
yes.
Okay, while we're waiting for Wayne, just a brief intro. This is a work session for site plan special exception application for a change in use from there's an existing office building here, and it's going to be for a special trade contract. And we have the plan on the next page. If you're familiar, this is the Shinnecock Hardware. Crust is over here. Gas station, I believe that's Speedway here, so everyone knows, up on 39.
Mhm.
And
This is it.
this is the sort of existing and what's proposed. And if Wayne is in, he can take it away.
I am in, but we also need to let Vinnie Gordiello from the Rayner Group in.
Thanks, Wayne.
I just passed there this morning because I got gas.
Yeah, I did a site visit over the weekend.
Excellent.
right next to the gas station.
Yeah,
Does anyone know what's going on the corner property? I mean, my gosh. I'm
Which one,
imagining
Dennis?
on Tuckahoe, there was a communications tower and,
Oh, yeah, the old yacht place, right? Or whatever it is now.
well, on the same side, it's on the corner to
Yeah.
Tuckahoe. But they've been working there all winter.
Do you know,
No
Matthew?
site plan.
I
well,
believe it,
there was an administrative okay to put a Carvel in there.
yes. Correct, Gloria.
Really?
Yes. Mhm.
No landscaping, no site plan, nothing?
They didn't get an administrative okay, did they?
Yes.
It got an administrative approval, I believe, for Carvel
When?
in the fall, I think.
Yeah.
Aren't you supposed to be looped in on the administrative, Jackie?
Yeah, I have no recollection of that
They're
whatsoever.
generally posted to the agenda.
We were told.
Yeah.
It's interesting that, okay, can you, all the planners double check to make sure that we are notified and at least discussed, as Dennis said, no landscaping, no, we would have had some input on that.
Yeah, I mean, I remember commenting that I thought that was a high intensity use and we should have seen it.
Multifamily housing on the opposite corner, so
Right.
residents have no chance to input or public hearing. It's, I think it was some dropped the ball on that one.
Yeah.
No, that's why I remember it, because I wasn't happy.
Whose application was it?
I think it was Claire's.
All right, we can talk about it during. the
Yeah, okay.
meeting. Yeah, but
Topic.
good, Dennis. You're here, Vincent Gardiello and Wayne, can we begin?
I'm ready. Good
Okay.
afternoon, folks. I'm here on behalf of Christopher Ennis and CSE Construction. We are contract vendees to acquire the subject property. The current owners, E&LJ Corporation, have authorized us to begin an application process, which would allow us to obtain the necessary change of use. The current use, or CO for the premises, is for a security office. If you recall, the former Bell Ringer Security Company was located on the premises. A few years prior to that, this property and this building was originally a model home office for a contractor for Driftwood Homes many years ago, and the planning board approved the site plan for that going back into the late 70s and early 80s. That being said, we went to the building department and explained what our intended use. Mr. Ennis is a building contractor. He intends to use this as his office in a limited area for equipment and vehicle storage in the rear. The property has approximately 27,000 square feet, and by code, we're allowed one use per 20,000 plus any offices for each additional 4,000. So he wants to also possibly rent out a space in the building for an additional office, such as real estate, an attorney, architect. He has no particular tenant at this time. That being said, we went to the building inspector and asked, whether this was eligible for a commercial compliance certificate. And even though Bell Ringer did do contracting work related to security, he indicated that it would require us to come to this board for special exception approval. Our client has no intentions of altering or changing any parts of the building. Nonetheless, we met with Claire initially to talk about potential issues. This board might look at site plan issues that might be related to the change of use. And so she suggested this work session. And I would probably like to turn this over to Vinnie Gordiello, who prepared the documents you see on the screen, to sort of describe and perhaps point out some of the changes we anticipate or what was suggested by staff, and see if there's anything else that might come out of this suggestion. Vinnie is trying to work on formal plans to get a site plan and special exception application into you as soon as possible. So I'll let Vinnie take it over at this point.
Okay, good afternoon, the board members. My name is Vin Gaudiello. I'm an engineer with the Rayner Group, and we've been retained by the contract vendor to this property to prepare an updated title survey and site plans for submission to the planning board. The drawing that you're looking at, I just wanted to clarify what you are looking at. On the left side of the page is an aerial photograph that was flown in March of this year with the line work, or I should say the site plan that you see on the right side of the page superimposed on top of it. So what you're seeing in both views are the proposed improvements, or what we believe to be the proposed improvements that would be required by the planning board in your consideration of this special exception application. Just to kind of go over what we are proposing to do, as you come in off of County Road 39, we are providing a connection, a cross access with the property to the west. Presently at that location is parking. So in order to provide for that, we would be losing parking, and in losing parking, we are now providing more parking along the front of the building. Exactly. In order to meet the parking requirements for the overall site, we are also proposing delineated or formal parking in the rear of the building. What we have back there now is basically an open, improved area. It's improved with macadam and gravel. What we're looking to do down back in the back or rear portion of the building is improve that in a manner that would satisfy the parking requirements, as well as provide for a designated outdoor storage area. That storage area is approximately 5,846 square feet. Located in that area would be small equipment like a skid steer. Mr. Ennis runs a general contracting residential building business. So you may see some materials being stored back there as well, lumber, etc. But in essence, that area would be designated or kind of fenced off from the back of the site. And parking has been provided for the storage. We are also showing an 8x8 dumpster area in that corner of the storage area. And as far as access to this portion of the site, that is taken through this right-of-way that's along the easterly portion of the property, which is currently serves that area now.
Then how will customers get into the building from that rear lot?
There is an access through the rear of the building. If you look at the aerial, you could see a lighter.
Yeah.
Well, that's a walkway that's there, but just behind the building, there's a rear entrance that comes through the lowest level of the building and into the building.
So both will be used as entrances, right?
Yes.
And there's going to be another office in there that he's going to rent out?
Yes, right now we're proposing two tenancies in the building, one for himself and one for future, a future tenant. The calculations, I believe, are split somewhere around around 1,000 feet. So the office space in total is about 1,815 square feet. Those office uses, in essence, would be approximately the same, 900 per space or 1,800, somewhere in that ballpark. It would be the intentions of the tenant in the rental tenant to utilize the spaces in front of the site, with him primarily using the spaces in the rear of the site.
Wayne, can I ask you about the that access to the east? It looks like it heads all the way down to Tuckahoe. road, does your client have rights to that entire strip, or is it opened all the way?
The rights of that, we have not done, maybe Wayne can better answer that question. We've not completed the title report the title survey as of yet. So I haven't had the opportunity to review the title report, but maybe Wayne can comment on that.
Well, that right of way exists. It's shared by the gas station. It's shared by that business to the east. In fact, when you go back in history, back to the 70s or late 60s, there was a division here. That property on the facing Tuckahoe with the building and all the storage this was part of this property, and that all became a division, and that access was in place and used by all these properties. And as far as I know, Dennis, that is currently open. That was a question we asked Claire to go out there, and physically it's open and used by all the parties now. So those who do want to, rather than go out onto the county road, are currently going out onto Tuckahoe Lane.
Okay, because I went to access the speed. I rarely use that speedway. I went to access it in January, and it was blocked. There was the fence. There was a barrier or fence across that area. So you're saying that was?
I think it was removed. We heard that comment, and we went out there. And as far as we know, maybe Vinny can point out because you were out there recently. But I believe whatever fence that may have been there in January was removed, and it was probably because people are using that and didn't want it blocked.
Does that feel? Is there a cross access to? It used to be the old barn, the nightclub there. That's one property. What rights have they conveyed to any of these other properties over there? Do you know of any, or? We
don't know anything about that. That doesn't abut us, and we don't know what rights they have or otherwise. Early on when the planning board approved this, you notice there is a curb cut onto County Road 39. But nonetheless, since even the original site plan had the access over the right of way as well as the gas station using that right of way. Nonetheless, we're going to continue that. And as far as the cross access, as Vinny indicated, if you look at the aerial photograph, there was this row of parking on the northwest side that was perpendicular parking there. So that line of parking in anticipation of your request for cross access there, we wouldn't want to lose the spaces in the front, but we would remove those there and just placing the 2 or 3 spaces in line on the front. The other thing on the parking, even though a contractor use is not entirely 1 space per 180 square feet, we asked Vinny to show if the entire building was entirely office space. So the parking is probably more than would be needed for either one of the tenants, but we put the maximum on the plan to show that it can be accommodated.
You know, the cross access to the site directly to the west, is there physical connection there now? Is it ready to be opened, or is there?
There is not.
No, curb there.
There is no physical connection available now. In essence, what we're showing improving up to our property line. I don't know if there is an instrumental ready binding to that adjacent property owner, whether that would permit us to make that connection. That's something we would need to look into.
Yeah, that's a relatively recent site plan within the last 8 years, I think.
Yeah, I would think that there's likely an instrument that would allow us to do that.
I would think so. We'll check and see if it is.
Okay.
Yeah, that was Leland Lane, and I'm familiar with the property, and I believe there's a covenant that for future cross access that would require notice to them and anticipation of this if the board wants us to do such a thing. And you would have to join in our request to connect if that is the board's determination.
Sure.
There might even be connection in the rear. If you look at the aerial, there might be a possibility.
Yeah, I think if we needed to, but again, you can see there we're trying to secure the storage area in a manner that might not be consistent in connecting with the parking that they have. So we didn't propose it there, but we thought the board would want it definitely in the front.
Yeah.
Personally,
the-
I bank at in that shopping center, and then I often go to get gas as well. So it'd be great to not have to go out to the highway and then back. And I would think that the owners of that facility would welcome it because it would provide a way for people to get out more easily using Tuckahoe. I mean, I think that's one of the reasons it's had a hard time.
Vin, are you there?
I am.
Have you sized these parking spaces for special trade contractor vehicles?
We did not. They're all 10 by 18. We had asked the Mr. Ennis if he had vehicles, oversized trucks, et cetera, for the purposes, and he indicated that other than pickup trucks, a pickup truck, he did not envision the need to park any vehicles larger than that.
Okay, you might just want to take that into consideration because
Okay.
start out with normal vehicles and then grow
Yeah,
into larger.
we have room in that outdoor storage area with flexibility to make those spaces a little bit larger.
Okay,
And we will definitely, again, our primary purpose today, Jackie, was to come to the board and get recommendations from you guys.
right,
So when we do make our application, we could be as comprehensive as you guys want it to be.
exactly. Well, I think you've heard some, so. Any other recommendations or suggestions from the board?
Is there any
Dennis,
proposed
anyone?
landscaping?
Yeah, that's what I was going to mention too, Dennis. Maybe there's some line of some things along the neighboring property to the west. Maybe to continue that, a couple street trees, they'll screen us some of the parking in the front.
Well, there is one large street tree right there, yeah.
And there's one sign, right? One lawn.
Yeah,
Yes, and I think Claire pointed this out. We were to check and determine what that existing permit is and whether or not we need to relocate that, perhaps shift it further away from the street to meet setbacks.
So you have some things that you're still checking out.
Yes.
And I assume that the second tenant would only be office space. They would not be trying to rent to someone that similar to the trade contractor. Where
No, by statute, we can only do an office use. A special trade contractor would be a second use needing 20,000 square feet of lot area, so we can't do that.
Okay,
Special exception.
any other comments? Matt?
So I'm hearing a site plan and special exception application, a public hearing, and then we'll go from there. I think we have-
Okay,
Okay, we really appreciate your comments. This is very helpful, and you'll see an application soon.
thank you. Thanks, Wayne.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. So we're closing out the work session, going into the afternoon session, and it's Matthew, number 3, 115 and 127 Halsey Lane. Matthew?
Back up. Can everybody see the aerial?
yes.
Okay, this is on for completeness. If you remember, we deemed it incomplete at the last meeting. They needed some map changes. It's a lot line modification at 115 and 127 Halsey Lane. It is about just under 3,000 square feet that's being transferred. I'll show you on the subdivision map. When this was approved, it had a rather wide flagpole area. So they're looking to transfer a portion of the flagpole to the neighboring property, parcel 1. This is all within the same subdivision map. We also asked them to show all their correct wetland setbacks and a 75-foot buffer. So they've made those map changes. So this will be to deem complete and set a public hearing for
May 13th?
May 13th.
Mhm.
Okay. Motion by someone, motion by Gloria and second by Dennis. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, 6 in favor. Okay, Anthony, you have the number 4 Howard Irrevocable Living Trust.
Yep. Okay, so this is a new application. I believe Daphne Vaughn is here on behalf of the applicant. This is a property. It's in the Village Business Zoning District here on Noyak Road. I believe this is just west of the marina. It is in the VB zoning district. It has an existing one-story building in the front here, which is CO'd for 2 businesses and an apartment in the back. And then in the back here, they have a 4-car garage, and that's what the CO states. The applicant submitted an application to legalize an apartment, which was installed on the 2nd floor of the garage building without the necessary permits. An apartment in the Village Business Zoning District is a special exception use. So that's what makes the special exception application. In this case, this is just a survey of the property. A part of the plan, two components here. They're going to be upgrading the septic system, I believe, to an IA system. Obviously, I believe it's in the water quality improvement zone. And they're proposing to make the apartment on the 2nd floor of the garage an affordable apartment through the town's program. It looks like they're going to need some sanitary flow credits for the health department. And I believe that the applicant has reached out to the town to initiate that process. At this point, I had sent out the checklist. We had the comments from the engineer, and the applicant needs to submit the special exception petition. So I was going to recommend deeming the application incomplete, and then to see if the planning board had any questions of me or the applicant.
I have a question and a
Sure.
comment, Anthony. What marina?
I believe it would be, I think maybe I just want to make sure I got the right.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of marinas on Noyak Road.
It's literally, it's one just to the west here. It might be Mill Creek. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's Mill Creek. It's
I
across.
think it's Mill Creek. Is that Mill Creek, Dennis?
Yeah, it looks like Mill Creek. I think that's Ed Burke's. Isn't that Burke's development that wraps around it on the west side and around the back?
Oh, yes, I think you're right.
Yeah.
And then in the wording for the meeting agenda, it's the address is Noyak Path, not Noyak Road.
Gotcha. We'll fix that. And then if Daphne was here, if she had anything she wanted to add?
So it's incomplete at this point, right?
Yes.
And you're scheduling something for May 13th?
But no, it's incomplete, so we're not
Oh, we're
scheduling.
not scheduling anything.
Is Daphne here? Does she have anything she wants to add?
Okay, if not,
Daphne is here. Hang on.
Is that an affordable
Sorry,
apartment
she's
or is
coming
it market?
It will be affordable, Robin.
Okay, thank you.
You got it.
Hi, hello. Daphne.
hi, Daphne, we've gone over it. I don't know if you had anything more to add. We're deeming it incomplete, so.
Yeah. No, I have received the comments from both Anthony and the town engineer's office. So we're going to work on those additional map changes that they're requesting. I'll get the petition in as well as a short EAF so we can get this deemed complete as soon as possible.
Okay, thank you. So can I have a motion to deem this incomplete?
Motion,
Motion by Robin, second by Zuccarelli. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, 6 in favor. Okay, Matthew, are you handling the loaves and fishes?
Jackie, I am. Jackie Fenton.
Okay,
Yep. So let me just share the screen quickly.
Anyone need to come in?
No, no one is present for this discussion. They're aware. So just to remind the planning board, this is Loaves and Fishes on the corner of Butter and Montauk Highway at 2262 Montauk Highway. The applicant has been made aware that the application is incomplete. We have a laundry list of engineering requirements that are required, but just to refresh the board's memory, this is the site plan configuration with the parking to the north, street trees along Butter Lane. So right now it is incomplete, so I'm recommending on behalf of Claire that it be deemed incomplete and the applicant is aware of this.
great. Thank you. I have a motion to deem this incomplete by Dennis, second by Gloria, and all in favor.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 6 in favor.
And I'm actually handling the next one too, Jackie.
Okay, the Sag Harbor Antique Fire Truck Museum.
Yes. Let me
Yep.
share the screen. And I'm sorry, I'm not sure if somebody is there for this. So if there is somebody present, if they could just say so in the chat. I'm just not sure who would be representing it since I'm
I
taking.
think Dennis
I believe
Downs
Dennis
was. one.
Downs.
Okay.
Dennis Downs, yeah.
Yeah, so Charles, I don't know if you see Dennis Downs. I was looking, I didn't see.
Or maybe Ed Dearman.
Okay.
Ed Dearman, yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Kathleen. So I'll share the screen. Give me one second.
We were deeming this complete, though, to
This
set
is
up.
complete. Yep. So I know you had a work session recently and discussed the applicant is going to work on plans to make revisions regarding the grass pavers that you guys had requested.
And the breakaway gate. That,
And the breakaway, yep, and the gate along Scuttle Hole Road. So Claire has reviewed this and the application is recommended to be deemed complete and schedule a hearing for May 13th.
Okay. Motion?
Motion.
Motion by Gloria and second by Robin, all in favor.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 6 in favor. Anthony, you have number 7.
Yes.
Udico.
Yep, so this, everyone remembers this subdivision, Kamakudico, off of North Sea Mecox Road. In December, Bruce Anderson was before this board doing an extension. He indicated at the time that he was probably going to need to do another extension. I believe they're working out the issues with the water authority in terms of the water main extension. And I believe he indicated in December when we did this extension that the last extension that after the first of the year, the water authority were going to have to redo the contracts and everything else. So they've asked for another extension. I don't know if, I'm not sure if Bruce Anderson is here. I sent them the link, but it would just be another extension for Kamakudico to get the final maps in, and it would be from March 12th until June 10th.
Okay, so it's a 90-day extension.
It's a 90-day extension.
Right. Have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Gloria and second by
Second.
Craig, all in favor.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, 6 in favor. Number
I'll
8,
just,
8 is off.
Yeah.
Anthony, you have Peconic Paddler, another extension.
yep, this is just Peconic Paddler. This is their second extension. They're working out getting the final maps done. Again, this is a tough site. Nice site plan, though, came out really good. So we're just doing an extension. It would be from February 23rd until May 24th.
Great. Have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Dennis, second by Gloria, and all in favor.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 6 in favor. 10 and 11 are off the agenda, so we go to 12, Baywoods, Lot 16. Covenant amendment, Matthew.
Yeah, and Jackie, I'd like to do 11 and then 15. They're the same lot if you don't mind together. One's a covenant amendment and one is the re-veg for the same lot.
Oh, so that's 12 and
Let Kieran into the
17. It's 12 and 17.
12 and 17.
Yeah.
12 and I have the wrong version.
Approval of the re-veg plan.
I lost my audio, sorry. What did you say, Jackie?
Okay, so it's number 12 and then Baywoods number 17, which is
I
the
might have
re-veg.
an older version of the agenda, I apologize.
Okay,
And if you could let Kieran in, Charles.
Say that again.
Kieran Pape Murphy is representing the application, if you can let her in.
Okay, got it.
Thank you. Everyone can see the aerial on this. This is Hampton Bays.
You're very hard to hear.
Yeah,
Let me
I
see if I
agree.
can turn
Pump up the volume.
up the volume.
Pump up the volume.
pump it up. Did you pump it up, Matt?
Working on it.
Huh?
Talk loud.
He sounds like he's underwater.
Yeah.
Here we go. How's that? Is that better?
Oh,
Perfect.
yeah.
Yay.
Just gotta know the right buttons to push, I guess.
Yes.
Okay, so the first part of this will be the covenant amendment. This is for the lot, it's lot 16 of the map of Baywoods, 31 Baywoods Drive in Hampton Bays. You can see the aerial here. It's a nice survey showing some revegetation that's proposed. Existing by covenant filed in 1986, they're allowed 28%. So the applicant's requesting that that be amended to go to 50%, which would be permitted by the town code. We've done, I believe this is the fourth lot that we've done in this subdivision to bring it up to the town code standards. A public hearing was not required as part of the covenant amendment. It's just a majority plus one. Some standard conditions, just town attorney's office review for the covenant amendment, filing that covenant and sending us a copy. So that's pretty much it for that part.
Any questions on this part? We'll have to do two separate actions, no?
Two separate actions. I have two
Yeah.
resolutions.
Okay, any questions on the covenant amendment? Okay, let me have a motion.
Here.
Motion.
Motion by Zuccarelli, second by Dennis, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, 6 in favor, we have a supermajority. That's done. And then the re-veg plan. I'm sorry, Karen, did you have anything to say, or? This is pretty.
No, I'm very happy. Thank you.
Okay, so we go to 17, which is site disturbance or re-veg plan.
Same property as you can see with the aerial. They're proposing the revegetation in the front, as you can see on the survey. This will bring them to that 50% that's allowed. With the covenant amendment, quite a nice plan, 6,500 square feet. This is everything that's going in, pretty prototypical species for the area. So typical new conditions that we have, except I added the first one, which is filing of that amended covenant, and I'll reference the planning board resolution number.
Good. Great. Okay, so do I have a motion to approve this re-veg plan?
Motion.
By Robin and second by Dennis, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention? Okay, let's see, we're going to.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
See you again.
Bye. Thank you.
13, Anthony, that's you, Hattrick, Sean and Jennifer, conditional preliminary approval.
I'm sorry, is Elizabeth Vale here?
Yes.
Oh, she is? Okay. If you could just let her in, she's representing the applicant. Okay. All right, so we've been looking at this for a while now. This is the subdivision. This is on North Bishop's Lane in Tuckahoe. I believe there's some town land back here. This might even be owned by the town as well. This is in the R20 zoning district. The applicant has proposed a 3-lot subdivision. Well, it's actually, if you recall, a 4-lot subdivision because they had to include this lot here as the health department picked up on a lot issue here that never received approval. So in actuality, it's a 4-lot plan because it involves this piece of property here. Again, it's R20, New York State Archaeological Sensitive Area. The report was done. There was no artifacts that were found. We had a final application that came in. We had a final hearing on this. I did the final referrals, which are included in the resolution. Let me just remind the board. It'll be 1 flag lot covering all 3 lots, the existing residence, 2 vacant lots in the back. This lot here that they had to include has its own driveway, so that's not included. So in any case, we did the final referrals. I had the final hearing. Everything has come back. So I have a resolution for a conditional final approval. I'm getting some feedback there. I don't know if you hear that.
Yes.
Anything they see here grayed out, I just have to put the dates of the maps in there. I had a number of maps and I was working remotely when I did it. So I'll just add the dates in there after the fact. But in any case, it's a conditional final approval. Some of the findings, the health department issued an approval on this for October 9th, 2020 with septic systems and water supply and the subject to their covenants as normally the case. So put that in there. I have the date of the final plans in here as well. I just got to add that. This was a type 2 action, so no further secret review. It's consistent with the pre-app report. We had a final hearing. There were no comments received during the hearing or during the 30-day written comment period. The planning board waived the flag lot requirement for 1.5 times. In this case, we did that during the pre-application phase. Number 7, we're not going to require an on-site park. Being that this is creating 2 new residential lots with 2 vacant properties, the fee's got to be assessed. And right now, based on the assessment, it's $13,802.52 per lot. So the park fee will be $27,617. The New York State Archaeological Report was done in December of 2020. Nothing was found. Again, a single common driveway and utility easement will serve lots 1, 2, and 3, while lot 4 will continue to use and maintain its own driveway. And the 4-lot plan is not subject to the Long Island Workforce Housing Act. We referred it to the engineer, who gave all the typical engineering comments, which have to be addressed before the plans can be signed. And we'll have to get the common driveway plan signed and stamped before we stamp the plans, as is the case. Comments from the Conservation Board, it's pretty similar from the first time. They're basically recommending a 20-foot wide strip of land on the northernmost lot to protect the adjacent town-owned land and to protect the slopes in that area. Incidentally, the Conservation Board references slopes. We asked for a slope analysis actually of 15% or greater, which was submitted, and there were no slopes greater than 15%. We got comments from the Office of Fire Prevention, standard comments. Needed. Trails advisory, no trail implications. The Highway Department said there's limited site visibility, so they're recommending removal of the vegetation at the northwest corner of the entrance. And we didn't get any comments from the Fire District, the Health Department, or the Shinnecock Nation. So with that, I have the resolution to conditionally approve with the changes to the map, compliance with the engineer's comments. I included the 20-foot wide naturally vegetated buffer along the westerly property boundary of Lot 3, which will serve to prevent encroachment onto the adjacent land, and it should be delineated with a split rail fence. Conservation Board comment recommendations, that actually was the recommendation, so it's included in there. And I believe the applicant wants to talk about that. Remove all the building envelopes from the map, show the postal delivery numbers for each of the lots, and then add the proper notations that are indicated here, and remove the word proposed from common driveway notation. Again, compliance with the engineer's comments and signature of the common driveway plan prior to the planning board signing the final plat. Submission of a letter of acknowledgement of the subdivision regulations, typical requirement. Submission of covenants and restrictions, no further subdivision of any of the lots, no lot line changes without planning board approval. All utilities to be installed underground, no new utility poles for overhead utilities, 3-inch drainage for all future impervious surfaces, the retention of stormwater on site, the notation regarding the driveway for lots 1 through 3. A notation indicating a covenant indicating lot 3 is subject to a 20-foot buffer. And then this is all the language that we typically include for the buffer, which includes, no removal of vegetation, no clearing, no structures. This is in the case of flagpole lots 2 and 3, the front lot line shall be used for the determination of lot width and any required front yard setbacks. Under the town code, when you have a flag lot, the property owner picks the front lot line. So just wanted to note that in there. The clearing, grading, and subbase of the common driveway prior to the conveyances of the lots, construction of the common utilities prior to the conveyance of the lots, issuance of the building permits for the lots, or construction of the common driveway, whichever occurs first. Again, these are standard requirements for common driveways. Again, construction of the common driveway prior to the issuance of the CO, and compliance with the comments from the Office of the Town Fire Prevention. Submission of a common driveway easement, common utility easement, copy of the New York State. That's not correct. There is no New York State DEC wetlands permit, so we don't need that. submission of a mortgage consent if applicable, town attorney approval of all legal documents, and then submission of the final maps and Mylars for stamp. I believe the applicants here had a few things that she wanted to go over.
Good afternoon, board members. Liz Vale, Farrell Fritz. How are you? Good to see all of you.
Thank you.
I just wanted, Anthony, can you bring up the map again on the northern, the lot to show lot 3?
Yes,
The
let
northern-
me zoom in.
Thank you. So, you know, we're not opposed to a 20-foot buffer. We're just asking if you could move it further south, because if you look at the top of lot 3, it's really narrow at the top and it goes only to 47 feet wide, 47.62 feet wide at its narrowest point. So from the building envelope, proposed building envelope out, we're just asking if we could shift the 20-foot buffer further south to accommodate a little bit more area in that very constrained area. It's just really because of the configuration of the lot.
And it has returned.
Yeah, that the 20 feet would impact it pretty greatly up there.
So
But we're not opposed to shifting it down onto lot 2 if necessary, you know, to accommodate a different area. So I was hoping the board would consider that.
Well, I think we want to, the point of the buffer there is to lot 2, but where it is that correct, Anthony?
Yeah, I mean, I just took the recommendation straight from the conservation board, but Liz, you know, is to put the 20-foot buffer along this property line here. What Liz is asking is, rather than include this top portion here, if she could start the buffer here and move it down, and then possibly, I guess, include lot 1 as well. I mean, lot 2 as well.
The town owns that parcel up top, right?
Yeah, it does, and down here as well.
Yeah, both parcels.
Right. So moving it then doesn't do anything. I mean, it helps you, but we have the protection of the Southampton land.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
we have the Southampton town land.
Yeah.
But I think also, you know, their rationale for protecting this area was the steep slopes, but, you know, we did that analysis for the board already and submitted it, and it wasn't that steep. So I was just hoping, because it's so narrow in that area, you can see the lot, it's just 46 feet wide there. It's very difficult to do anything with respect to an accessory structure or anything else they could put back there, even a driveway area or something. It would be really difficult to accommodate or use any part of that back area of this lot. It's a very small lot to begin with, so it would cut off a pretty significant portion of the property. So if we could move it south, it would still afford the town a great deal of protection while accommodating the lot configuration.
Where would it start, Anthony? Can you just indicate?
Yes, it looks like it would start right where the principal building envelope starts.
Okay. Does anybody have any comments on that? Are you okay with that? Anything else, Liz?
That was really my only concern with respect to today's approval.
What happens to this corner piece from lot 4?
This here?
Yeah.
It's been accounted for in the subdivision. That was the discrepancy that the health department picked up on.
Do any legal documents need to be?
No, because I think that the subdivision approval is addressing that. So when the new deeds get drawn up, the lots will be consistent in the county as well.
Exactly, and the county is the one that required us because it didn't match the health department tax map from 1981. So they're making us fix it by this subdivision. This is going to fix that discrepancy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions? If not, motion to approve the final conditional approval as amended by Zuccarelli, second by Dennis. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions? 6 in favor. Thank you. Thanks, Liz.
Thank you, board members.
Thanks, Liz.
Liz.
14 is
Thank you.
off. We're going to West Hampton. Matthew, West Hampton Boat Works and Storage.
Yes. Charles, and
Say that again.
sorry. Can you let Fred Toll is in? Can you also William Laverty, which looks like he made his way in also.
Both are in.
Thank you. Let me pull this up for everybody. I have a pre-submission conference report to go over with you all today.
And there was nothing in the packet and nothing, I've not seen anything on this.
It was in I had sent this out last week in the
It's not in your email either.
Oh, it wasn't? Was it in the, it should be in the main packet if it wasn't there.
Wasn't. I went both places.
Okay.
So just go over it carefully, Matt.
Oh, absolutely. If you guys, I'll go through it. Yeah, I thought it was there.
Yeah, I mean, you usually send it separately and then we get it again.
Yeah, I apologize.
If it was in the separate package, I couldn't find it.
Okay. I'll give you guys.
That's weird. I got it.
Yeah, well, maybe I just couldn't find it.
That's strange.
Okay. So this is a pre-submission conference report. So originally this made its way to the planning division through a violation in the building department. They had done some, renovation work, replaced a roof on some structure, and did some facade improvements on a lot of the storage buildings that are on site here. As you can see, I mean, the site plan's a little small. If I exit out of this view, I'll zoom in a little bit, just briefly. But it's a pre-existing use here. As you can see, there's a storage building here, a retail store in this portion, some storage buildings in the back. There's also a single-family home and a two-family home that are, not subject to planning board review, but those are also on site. So basically with this, it came in basically to address what the changes that were made. And also because they have changed the retail use in here, this is residentially zoned. So they changed from selling flags to a tile store, which is more of a, a special trade situation. They would need to go to the zoning board for a change from one non-conforming use to another. I will go through the report, and then if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask. As you can see, these are the floor plans. This is the retail portion, the office portion for the boat storage use. This is about a 2-acre parcel in Quiog. It's R20 zoned, 401 Montauk Highway. The only overlay that it's in the water quality, I believe the high and partially in the medium priority area.
Matthew, do they have CFOs for all the buildings?
They have CFOs for all the buildings, and I do have a nice section of that in the report. I just want to give you an idea of what the buildings look like that are large storage buildings. These already exist. As you can see, this is the the retail and the showroom area. The applicant did provide a pretty good rendering of what this is pretty much how it looks now. We go through those. This is Montauk Highway. This is Meeting House. If you're familiar with the area, if you look on the aerial, there's kind of 2 points that come through. There's a point here and a point here, South Country Road. And this is Meeting House, so they have frontage on both. But as you can see, so they've done some improvements. So they have a chain link fence. So they do have a variance for a 6-foot fence on the property. This is looking at the tile and stone store that's there now. There's an access point here, a pretty wide open curb cut. This is where people access the tile store, and some boat storage pretty nearly in the right of way. I mean, in summary, I've kind of gone over it. We had a commission conference on this back on February 25th. No members of the public spoke or had any concerns. It was closed with a 30-day written comment period, and we didn't receive any comments then. What they'll need for a site plan is obviously a full site plan application with lighting, landscaping, building elevations and engineering information, details on parking, pedestrian and traffic circulation, drainage, etc. Building plans, and something from the ZBA about that change of use, or if they've expanded any uses. I'm just asking for clarification.
Do they have, or they have to go to the ZBA?
They will have to, as I see it now, they'll have to go to ZBA for that change in the retail aspect of what's on site. Because if you see, they have a pre-existing CO that reads a one-story single-family dwelling, a 2-story two-family dwelling, north building for boat showroom, offices, and a separate tenant flag shop. That's the retail aspect that's changed into the tile store. And being
with outdoor storage. And
yeah, so being that this is a non-conforming use, to change to another non-conforming use, they would need ZBA. There's 2 other storage buildings. Rack storage was approved. It doesn't seem like there's any boat rack storages anymore. And there's a 6-foot fence, and they also have, the original boat storage that was granted and for a freestanding sign, which I'm not sure that this freestanding sign exists anymore. So in terms of preliminary review, as I mentioned, the ZBA, they'll need to clarify that use or get a change from one non-conforming use to another. It looks like it meets the parking requirement as of now. They'll just need to note that, if it's going to be unimproved parking, so like not there, it's 10 by 18, and if it's improved parking, it should be 9 by 20.
Is
And
there any chance of closing up that open curb cut?
I have it.
Right.
I do
Oh,
have it.
there you go.
Yes, it's in the next point. So 9 by 20 if it's improved parking, and then just to demonstrate they have 24-foot wide if there's two-way travel on site. And then I'm asking for reducing the size of the curb cut on Montauk Highway, not drastically, because I understand, there's boats coming in and out of here, large trailers. It seems like it's mostly, would you call it go fast boat that they work on. But as you see here, I'm just recommending that they close this area to about the telephone pole, not only for the flow of traffic, but this is where people enter the store. So I don't want a conflict with a pedestrian that comes in and then someone's driving into the parking lot. So to close here, we go further down to eliminate this small display area that's basically sitting right in the right of way. Moving down into landscape those areas also. And then another point I'd like, number 4, is the possibility of a transition yard just for parking and outdoor storage. There's a newer section of the code that, it wouldn't apply necessarily to this site, but we would want to make this site as conforming as possible. So for non-conforming boat yards, there's a 20-foot transition yard that's required to be planted. So I think in this case, it would be beneficial to, at least on Montauk Highway, establish a 20-foot transition yard. So they're not, there's nothing along Montauk, there's no boat storage along Montauk. I just wanted to get the board's thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think so. I think it would look a lot better and function better.
And then number 5, obviously a formal landscaping plan, landscaping along Montauk Highway in those areas that we're reclaiming with a 1-foot high minimum and 3-foot high maximum evergreen hedging and some street trees. Parking and storage areas on the eastern side. There's residents on that side, so I think it would be appropriate to screen those as well. And then I also have the fence on here. The fence is relatively new. In terms of architecture, it's not something the planning board really, the ARB would typically recommend in a residential zone, the chain link. I thought, as something that might be easy for the applicant is if they, instead of having to remove or relocate the fence, they screen it with evergreens. I think it'll soften up the look, and it'll soften up the appearance for the neighbors. And I'm not sure what the board's thoughts are on that.
Sure.
Good suggestion.
Okay.
That's a good suggestion, that's right.
Yeah.
There's also indicated on the plan, there's a lot of non-conforming signs, so all the signs will have to be recommended. There's also a 16-foot tall sign that I can't find any kind of legalization for, so that'll need to be addressed as well.
Does that have a light or a sign?
It's a sign.
It's a sign.
16 feet tall. I think it's partially lit. I'm not sure. I don't know if there's exterior lighting on it, but it's I can't find it anywhere in any of their variances, and the town
Oh, it may have to be removed.
it doesn't permit signs of that size or monopoles. And also, if you look here, for a use like this, I don't think the parking demand is going to necessarily be as high as what might be required for the retail space. But I wanted, if they wanted to go in the realm of, having additional boat storage here or here, land banking some of the parking, depending on what, how intense the retail use is. I think it's, definitely an option here if they wanted to do, rack storage, but that's not proposed at this time. I just wanted to include in the report. Going back, they provided elevations. They'll need architectural review as part of the site plan application. They'll need drainage information for the town engineer. This is an unlisted action, so we'll need seeker prior to deeming it complete. I'll go back here. Sorry, I left out the rack storage. If they do propose the racks, they should be probably a 20-foot maximum and screened. They'll need an additional handicap space to conform with the code. Screening will need to, mechanicals will need to be screened, and then in terms of outdoor lighting, a 10-foot maximum if they're proposing any, just because this is a residential area. And then moving forward for the for the site plan application, and, I want to get the board's thoughts on this as well. If they recommend a public hearing or not, there wasn't any public hearing at the site plan stage, but, I'll leave it up to the board.
It's resident, where are we in this zone? Sorry, what did you say?
R20 is the zoning?
Oh, well, it's residential. It could have some public interest.
Yeah.
Is there a number of boats that are, that we have a tally for here?
We don't have an existing tally. I do have the applicants here. They might be able to speak better to that. I know storage is not, this is a newer owner compared to the historical owner. Storage is not a huge aspect of their operation, as they've informed me. This is mostly working on boats. There will be some stored there, but it's kind of as they work on them and then they go. But I'll let Fred Toll speak to that. He's the applicant's representative.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Appreciate the opportunity to speak with the board. Matt, could you pull up the photo with the boats on Montauk Highway to the west end of the property? Let's start there. You had a great photo. Okay, there we go. So as Matt pointed out, we've met with Matt on numerous occasions to go over the site. The lighting, the flagpole, all of the items that Matt brought up were at the tile store, for that matter. When these owners acquired the property, those things were there. They were pre-existing before they acquired it. That sign is not lit. We've agreed to eliminate all of the parking or display of any items west of the flagpole. That area can be regrassed or revegetated. We have agreed to no more than 3 or 4 boats in front of the property, which would be east of the flagpole. Those are items that are being sold or products that the owners of the property represent. Obviously, it's a multi-season business when people are bringing their boats in for servicing in the shops to be prepared for the spring and summer. And then obviously during the spring and summer, any repairs, and then obviously taking their boats out of the water as we go into the winter. There is limited storage on the property. Storage in many instances is inside the buildings and or in the yard, which is to the eastern portion of the property where the higher fence is, obviously to block those storage items. There are no boats that are racked. As you can see by the size of the boat in this photo, the cost of some of these boats are in excess of $1 million. They're not going to be stacking boats like that on top of each other. That's not what they do. The 20-foot requirement is fine. That's agreeable. We've prepared the application for the ZBA, and we'll be moving forward with that shortly. Matt, if you want to go up to the tile store, maybe we'll just talk quickly about that curb cut. We've agreed to do that curb cut. Obviously, in our discussions with Matt, it's not a typical yard where a small vehicle like that little SUV is the vehicle coming in and out. It's more like a truck pulling that boat that we just looked at. So I imagine when they did this, that's probably why they did not put a curb cut there. We've agreed to do that. We're not exactly sure how that will work with the people that are entering and exiting the facility, but we obviously will honor that and we'll use everything, I guess, west of the pole to bring products in or boats in that have to be fixed, repaired, or stored. As Matt pointed out, the fencing on Montauk Highway and then the fencing along the east side of the property abuts a residential house. That house is a rental house. We've agreed to do plantings on the outside of the fence. There's anywhere from 6 to 12 feet of space between the fence and the right of way on the east side. So evergreens would be no problem there. We're a little concerned about the plantings on Montauk Highway, as I discussed with Matt this week, because there is an opening gate there that allows vehicles in and out, when they're trailering or moving in products. And the visibility there is kind of limited because it's on the curb. We're obviously concerned that the bushes may create more of a visibility issue, but we're willing to do those plantings as well, along with some plantings on the back end of the property on Meeting House Road. The property owners are very interested in, doing additional vegetation. We've talked to Matt about some residential fences by the houses so that they would have some semblance of a yard. We've talked about a lot of things that we want to do to improve the appearance of the property beyond what it is now. That's not even being required, as I'm sure Matt would attest to. Beyond that, the rest of the items that Matt talked about, legalizing the signage and the ZBA issue we're addressing. There's no additional lighting that's going to be put in at that site. So obviously we would have our lighting and vegetation plan as part of our final site plan, along with our parking. And we have also not received any complaints from any neighbors or issues. Obviously, the last meeting was posted on the property. We got no inquiries, nobody stopped, no one's called. So not that I'm saying there's no interest, but we're obviously more than willing to meet with any of the neighbors at any time or any community groups if we needed to. And I think that's kind of like a quick summary of the points and I guess the issues of contention.
May I ask some questions?
Sure.
Okay, on the tile shop, is there deliveries, big trucks delivering tile, big trucks coming to pick up tile to be distributed? How does that operation work?
No and no would be the answer to both of those. That is a shop where you and I or a contractor can walk into that shop and order tile. They have tile samples. Their main office of operations is out of Mount Sinai, I believe, Miller Place, Mount Sinai. And I guess at the time, they were doing a lot of business in Eastern Long Island and decided to open up a store where customers or contractors can walk in, pick a product and order it. And that's basically what that store does. And the bulk of their business is obviously during the increase in population in the East End from Memorial Day to Labor Day, from what I've been told from the people that work there. But they also get year-round residents that are looking to redo a kitchen or a bathroom or new home, what have you. So there really is no delivery trucks going to that store, as you would think, like a truck pulling up and dropping off.
I want to order, I'm a contractor, I want to order tile. Do I pick up after I order it here? I look at the samples.
No, it would be delivered to the site.
Okay, that.
Or you'd go to their main office at Millard Place, Mount Sinai.
Okay.
I've not, in the time that I've worked with the property owner, I've not seen one, which now we're in excess of 2 years on this because we had to go in and do some health department approvals. I've never seen a delivery to that, besides a regular UPS truck.
Yeah.
I've never seen any deliveries to that shop.
All right.
There's no way to really do that. My recollection, I know Bill's on, but I don't think there's any delivery doors there.
No.
There's just the one entrance in and out of the store.
All right. 2 other questions. The tile that's on the ground outside on display, that will not be happening anymore?
No, I didn't even realize there was tile there.
Yeah, one of the pictures shows that.
It's like big piece of slate.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk to the tile company about that.
Okay, the other question I have, there was an earlier picture that showed a double fencing. This fence around, there it is. This notoriously, when there is double fencing like this, the area between the 2 fencing gets a lot of either leaves or garbage or such. Who's going to be maintaining that strip back there?
Matt, can you do a shot of the lot? Similar to the aerial shot that I sent you yesterday. I don't know what you have in the folder. I walked the property yesterday, day before yesterday, actually, to be totally accurate, just to look at the measurements that we had on the fence area to confirm that we could put shrubs there. And then I followed up with Matt in a pretty lengthy half-hour conversation just kind of going over the points to make sure we were on the same page. And the one thing that I mentioned to Matt, and Matt has seen himself, is there's not a stitch of garbage on this property right now. There's not a soda can, a coffee cup, a lid. The property is immaculate as far as maintaining it and keeping it clean, particularly compared to what it looked like before they acquired. So my answer would be that the applicants are beyond concerned about the appearance of their property. That's why they've put up the fence. That's why everything is neat. It's not scattered or haphazard throughout the site. Obviously, you're looking at an aerial photo. I gave Matt some real live pictures that I took yesterday with my phone. And, you know, they didn't know what time I was stopping by. So it wasn't like they prepared the site for me. That's how the site is every day. So, you know, they're going to maintain the shrubs. They're going to maintain the plantings. They're going to keep the property neat and clean. A terrible looking property or a dirty property does them no good in their business while they're doing repairs and trying to sell very expensive products.
All right, thank you.
I have a question about the fencing.
Sure.
You tell us what the setback on that fencing is?
Well, on the east side, it's 6 to 12 feet.
Can you pull that up, Matthew?
That's what the survey says at the moment. I didn't physically measure it by hand, but I did go look.
I believe, Fred, I believe this, and Matt, maybe you can correct me. I believe the stockade fence is on the property line, and
Oh, that is your fence.
yes,
Oh, it's not the neighbor's fence. So
the stockade fence. I don't know, Fred, is that at the?
I don't know if
owner's
it's
fence?
ours or not, so I can't answer that.
But I think
I don't believe we put that up.
I think the chain link fence was put up by the owners.
Yeah, I
Okay,
can't comment on this fence, the stockade.
So my question is, why was it put up where it was put up? Is there sufficient setback? It looks like they didn't allow very much space between that fence and the street.
Yeah, my understanding is that A, the fence existed. The only thing that did not exist were the slats that were put in the fence, making it a solid fence that you couldn't see through it. That's my understanding of the history of the fence, that it was also there when it was acquired. The only change to the property.
Was there approval for that fence?
Yeah, Jackie, they do have a ZBA variance for the 6-foot fence on the property.
For the height, but how about the location of it?
I don't want to.
I would imagine if they gave the height, they gave the location.
We'll have to pull that survey attached to the ZBA decision.
Yeah, that's it, right. Because
The only thing they did, ma'am, was put in the slats so that you can't see through the fence.
I understand.
And
Mike?
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead, Matthew.
Oh,
Go
sorry.
ahead.
I understand. The concern is if it's on the property line, where do we plant?
Yeah, it's on the property line. I mean, not only would I want bushes, but it would be so awfully nice to have a couple of street trees here. You know, you're in a residential zone.
And if it has to, it's a possibility if it has to be retreated because to achieve.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I don't know whether it's beyond encroaching in the setback, what the setback is. It's an odd looking fence.
Yeah. No.
Particularly if that wooden fence is your fence. And then it creates this sort of nomad land between the wooden fence and the covered fence. So to me, there's a fencing issue here, and that should show up in the report, Matthew, in the pre-submission report, some clarification.
I can add some language about, to verify the location based on what that ZBA decision is.
And setback and, right.
That's why I was concerned about that no man land.
Yeah.
It looks like that stockade fence, the posts that are holding it up are on the house side from the way I'm seeing it.
Yeah.
And
customarily, if the good side of the fence is facing you, it's the other party's fence.
That's exactly where I was going.
Yeah, customarily this would, from what I'm looking at here, I would think it's the residential side. They own the stockade fence.
Yeah, we're in agreement, Robin.
I can add some language to number 6 about the setbacks and
Right.
clarify the location.
Because there are two-
Obviously, from our point of view, the goal was not to have to rip out the fence. As I said, it was here before we got here, not that that means anything, but obviously that's a major undertaking to remove the fence, have that work done, the yard not being secure during the boating season, because obviously removing that fence and replacing it is not something that can be done in a couple hours. I'm sure that would take a couple days. And as you can tell, the yard's secure with that now. That's why the plantings from our perspective weren't an issue, and agreeing to maintaining them weren't an issue. I mean, they're an expense, and I'm sure it'll be a couple $1,000s to do those plantings. But, that seemed a more realistic approach.
Okay, so we have several things to add to this report. Are there anybody else have any?
Yeah, I have a question. Along the that northeast section, when we're talking about evergreen planting, are you just talking about the buffer space between the fences, or were you also talking about the perimeter?
Exterior of the fence.
Exterior of the fence. I'd like to see it along Montauk too. It doesn't have to be, we don't want to.
My concern about that, I know that curve very well. I'm a little worried about sight lines coming around that curve. And
That was our concern as well.
Yeah, and then if you have evergreens there, honestly, I don't know if they're going to survive, because you may have some significant salt kick up from winter salting. And if once that gets on evergreens typically don't survive.
I think, Craig, what we're looking for is in some ways to make some lemonade here.
Yeah.
Out of some lemons, because it is not an attractive site.
Off in the left.
And you've got outdoor storage, you've got curb cuts, you have fencing, some way to try to make it the appearance improved and comply is really what we're looking at here.
Yeah, it's not an attractive fence, I think, is the starting point.
Well, if you could go back to the fence, Matt, what we were just looking at, I can see it here, but so obviously from our perspective, we agreed to the plantings because we obviously understood that the staff's concern was that it looks commercial as opposed to residential. Keeping in mind that it's a site that's done boating for in excess of 40 years. So it's not like this site was, a wood factory and now all of a sudden it's a boat yard. It's been a boat yard for in excess of 40 years. So we had agreed to the plantings. Obviously, we put more plantings somewhere else on the property, but that does not change the fact that there's a fence there. As you can see by the storage, because of the angle that we're at, you can actually see over the fence. But if you are at ground level, you would not see the items in the yard. 90% of those are blocked because of the larger fencing. So that was the idea of the slats, to further block what was behind the fence, and to also secure it. We didn't want people probing around the yard on people's boats. And the gate that's also there, as I said, is there because some of the items are so large, the boats that they work on, that the gate was needed to get them in and out of the property. On the east end, which is a little further to the left of our screens, obviously there's a residential rental house there. There's 6 to 12 feet, so the survey says, and we can do as much planting there as you want to block the folks who live at the rental house. We've met with them and or talked to them in the time that we've been there. So there really doesn't seem to be any neighborly issues, but we'd be happy to do plantings there. With the exception of knocking the fence down at the cost of thousands of dollars, there's not much more we can do. I could change, the color. I can put trees.
Well, I think that, look, this is a pre-submission report. These are recommendations from the planning board and staff that we're making to you. Doesn't have to be resolved at this second. but you need to interact with Matthew on this and see what you can do and moving forward to improve it. So
I think we're headed in the right direction on this. I think we got some good, definitely some
good
good.
feedback, yeah.
And it may be that the fence is where it's supposed to be, but we don't know that yet.
Yeah, and I don't either.
Right, we need to find out the survey as council has suggested, take a look at that survey that was submitted to the ZBA and see where we are, because it's an odd thing.
Correct.
So-
Then we'll talk about making it look nicer if it's where it's supposed to be.
Last question I just had is the window signage. I'm sorry, I might have missed that. Are we, where
They'll
that
have-
window
yeah,
signage?
Robin, they'll have to make that code compliant. There's a certain percentage that they're allowed to cover windows with signage. I don't remember off the top of my head, but by the size of this, I believe this is too big.
I
Okay.
believe it's 25%.
25%, thanks, Jack.
Well, this is an existing tenant,
Yes,
and this
who
tenant
was here when we acquired the property.
and staying, so I mean.
They'd like to, yeah.
Okay. Okay,
And considering it's only one of the two tenants on the yard, they'd like to keep them there too. So,
okay. Okay, any other comments to the pre-submission report before we adopt it as amended? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to accept the pre-submission report as amended.
Motion.
Dennis, second by Gloria, and all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 6 in favor. Thank you.
thank you. Have a great
Thank you.
day.
Yes.
you.
Thank you. Number 16, Jackie, it's a reapproval of a site plan.
Yes, for Domena Horse Farm. And Wayne Bruin is present. He was representing the applicant.
Right, so are we just approving this with a new timeline or what?
Yeah, this would just, there's no additional changes. This would just be a reapproval for the additional 2 years.
So it goes then to
To April 11th, 2023.
April 11, 2023.
23. Yeah, 2 years. Reapproval.
Okay,
Yeah, they haven't submitted, they had delays with the pandemic, but they did, we signed their site plan in June of 2020.
right,
So they haven't gotten a building permit in yet.
okay. So entertain a motion for approval by Dennis, second by Zuccarelli, all in favor. Opposed, abstention, 6 in favor. We've done 17, so now we're Michael O'Daly, lot 3. It's a re-veg plan, Matthew? Michael O'Daly, lot 3.
I have an aerial for you guys. This is off Brick Kiln Road in Sag Harbor. We actually got this through our SOS complaint system that is now up and running within the town, that they did some excessive clearing. And I wanted to give you guys the opportunity to see. We have a new aerial system that we have access to in the town. It's called Near Map.
Oh.
You can see here. This is a little bit of a compressed image, but we have very up-to-date aerials now. This image was actually taken back in March of 2013. Sorry, March 13th of 2021. You can see the area of disturbance.
Oh, wow. Are they using drones to do these?
I believe so. I'm not 100% sure, but they're going to be updated regularly, so we'll be able to see a lot of stuff that's changing over time. This will be helpful. They're doing some significant re-veg on here because they just went beyond what was permitted. It's a pretty significant piece of property, a lot of trees. And I think there's almost 70 trees that they're going to be installing here. Typical conditions. This is a Michael O'Daly Lot 3. It's in the CR 200 at 1204 Brick Hill Road. And, the new timelines, they'll have 1 year to do it with a 6-month extension if they need more time. That's pretty much the same story.
Okay, so is that road coming in from another property or?
It's a flag lot, so with a common driveway, so it comes down all the way from.
I see.
So this is where Brick Hill branches off from Stony Hill.
Yep.
Mhm.
Picture, and there's a long flagpole that comes down. I actually, when we got the information, I couldn't get it from Brick Hill. You had to go from Middle Line Highway, which I believe this is Verizon here, to see.
Which is really not a road there. It's a trail.
It's a little bit of dirt. But
Yeah, I mean, I've walked that 100 times.
Okay, so motion to accept the re-veg plan
Welcome.
by Dennis and second by Gloria. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 6 in favor. The Benton Plaza Administrative Site Plan, can we see this? Anthony?
I don't, can you, sorry. You hear me now? Okay.
Yes.
I don't have anything to show, Jackie, to be quite honest. It was my understanding that we started putting these on the agenda so the planning board was aware of what was coming through. So I apologize. I don't have anything to show you guys on these, but I will start bringing them if you want, because normally we just put these on the agenda after they've already been approved. So
Well, I think,
because technically there is no discussion with the planning board on admin site plans. So we don't bring them to you until after they're approved, just to let you know that they're done. So
well, maybe they need to be looked at by the planning board before
I'm
they're,
not hearing Jackie.
okay? Because you see what happened. I mean, we had a conversation earlier about this Carvel. So I think it's important. I know this is for units.
Yeah, on Benton Plaza,
Existing rooftop, but I mean, how does the rest of the planning board feel about this?
Well, just as a quick note, if the
Yeah.
town code delineates what is subject to administrative site plan review by the head of the Department of Land Management, who, as you know, is now Janice Shear. So I think the concern is that a discussion might denote power to change that review.
Well, I mean, it's nice that we're notified of it, but in fact, we've had a couple of instances where had we seen this in administrative review, we would not have approved that it be just administrative review. Thinking of a driveway off County Road 39 and off 27 by Barry's Boot Camp. I'm thinking of this Carvel. So I think maybe we can talk to Janice and see if procedurally.
Yeah. We should schedule something, Jackie. I think.
Yeah.
I mean, if we look at the next one, it's talking about a convenience store, which we've been focusing heavily on.
yes, but there's no change to that convenience store, Glorian.
Okay.
So what are we?
As a construction of a 2,000 square foot accessory convenience store. So I'm reading that as it's new.
Yeah.
You've already approved the site plan on this, Glorian. This is it's
This is the one by the Stop and Shop, right?
yeah, that's correct. This is the gas station and convenience store in front of the Stop and Shop.
It's just, it's placed in the wrong area on the agenda. This one is supposed to be just as a site plan, not as an admin.
No.
What is an admin?
This is an admin. Yeah, we did some minor changes to
Minor
that.
changes.
So what, well, we worked so hard on this. So what were the changes?
Okay, well, there was actually mostly interior, but the pump station went from 8 pumps to 6 pumps, and the size of this was the major change, and the size of the canopy shrunk. So that was the design didn't change, just the number of pumps and the size, and then the relocation of the understorage tanks, which obviously we made the engineer look at, but that was the gist of the changes.
Jackie, let's book some time with Janice.
Okay, let's put it on a work session.
All over the place.
Yeah, let's put
Canopy
it
shrinking,
on,
pumps here, bigger, smaller.
right, let's put it on a work session
Yeah.
for next session. I'll talk to Janice before then to let her know that we're concerned about these admin approvals, and see how we can move forward, so that we're, clued in as to what's going on. I think the planning board would appreciate it, and we'd be doing our job if we can do this.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, if this gas station convenience store, what Anthony just told me, it would not have raised a flag, but the way this is written, it doesn't identify the minor changes, and that it had already been, the construction had already been approved. So.
Very good point. Again, it's communication. Yeah, how this is written. All right, Anthony, so how do we want to handle this in terms of,
We don't have to act on these, right?
No, they're simply notifications, but I'm going to let Janice know that you guys would like to have a work session.
yeah. That would be good.
We'll do that.
Okay, and then we have the acknowledge of the signature. Gloria, are we okay with this?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I think
I mean, I
stamp this. Did I stamp this? Is this yours, Matthew?
haven't stamped anything, so
And I believe Claire communicated with you that it was being stamped.
Okay, so that we're acknowledging that.
Yeah,
And
but-
I got one from you and one from her.
And then Jackie, mine was the walk-on. It's already been added to the agenda. 76 Montauk Highway, that's also being acknowledged. That's
Tell me the number.
76 Montauk Highway in West Hampton. That's the addition to the seasonal produce store that was approved.
Okay, so signature, we're acknowledging the signature on that.
Yes.
76 Montauk Highway. Okay, well, we've done this for today. We've made some progress.
it's time to get home.
Yes, Charles can go home. So we reconvene at 6 o'clock tonight, so can I have a motion?
Could you please, Jackie, can you please ask before you do that, can you please send a live link for tonight?
Yes, Matthew, can you send it to us?
I'll send that to the whole board.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so motion to adjourn by Dennis, second by Gloria, and all in favor?
Aye.